So, welcome, hello everybody, welcome to our worship for this week. I hope you're all good and raring to go with school to learn some new stuff and to experience new things. And I wonder if you can remember what our theme is for this term during our worship. I wonder if anybody can remember. If you can, perhaps you can tell teacher now. And for those of us that can't remember what we're talking about this term, we're going to be talking about trust. We're going to be talking about trust. And if you remember back to last week's worship, we thought about what it meant to trust other people, what trust really means, finding out who we can trust and who we can't. And also we learnt a little bit about the different ways in which our trust of other people can be broken as well. And today we're going to think a little bit more about trust. And this week's worship is called Knowing Jesus is with us in the stormy times. And you're going to hear about a story that reminds us about this. So knowing Jesus is with us in the stormy times. So we're going to think today about how we can trust Jesus. So let's start, as we did last week though, with our verse from Scripture, from the Bible. And see if we can remember it, because this was our memory verse that we used last week. So the words are on the screen right now, and let's say them together. My God is my strength, and in him I put my trust. My God is my strength, and in him I put my trust. Wonderful. So I hope you're sitting comfortably. I'm going to share with you a story from the Bible, and it's a story about Jesus and his friends. Where they lived, there was a huge lake where lots of the local people used to go out in their boats to fish, because that was what lots of the jobs were at the time that Jesus was alive. A lot of people were fishermen. So let me tell you a story, and I'm going to need you to join in with me, and I'm going to tell you what to do. So I'm going to tell the story, and then every so often we're going to repeat the last line that I said and the actions, whatever those actions might be. So the story is set on the lake shore, by that big lake. Jesus is there with his friends. So Jesus waved to his disciples. Come on, lads, let's cross the lake, he said. And he called them to him. Come on, lads, let's cross the lake. So what do we say? We say, come on, lads, let's cross the lake. So they all climbed into the boat, and they set sail across the lake. All was well, and the water was calm, and they were bobbing along on the waves. They were bobbing along on the waves. What were they doing? They were bobbing along on the waves. Jesus must have had a really busy day already, because he was so tired that he lay down to sleep, and he fell asleep in the back of the boat. He lay down and he fell asleep. What did he do? He lay down and fell asleep. Suddenly, the wind began to blow all across the lake, and what was calm was suddenly stormy weather, and the wind whipped and the waves grew higher. The wind whipped and the waves grew higher. What happened? The wind whipped and the waves grew higher. That's right. And suddenly, all across the lake, there was a storm blowing, and the waves washed into the boat. What did they do? The waves washed into the boat. So the disciples were scared, and they went to wake Jesus up, and they cried, "Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" What did they do? They said, "Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" The disciples went to Jesus and cried, "Master, we're going to drown! Master, we're going to drown!" What did they say? "Master, we're going to drown!" Jesus had been fast asleep in the boat, and he woke up and he rubbed his eyes and he said to the wind, "Shh, be quiet." What did he say? "Shh, be quiet." And then Jesus said something else. This time he spoke to the waves and he said, "Waves, calm down." What did he say and do? Jesus said, "Waves, calm down." And as soon as he'd said it, just like that, it was done. The wind and the waves calmed down. What happened? The wind and the waves calmed down. Then Jesus turned to his friends in the boat, and very calmly he said to them, "Where was your faith? And don't you trust me? Where is your faith? And don't you trust me?" And the disciples just stared with their mouths open. And they wondered, who is this man who controls the winds and the waves? Who is this man that controls the winds and the waves? So that's a story about Jesus and his friends in a boat, and his friends are scared, and his friends wake him up, and Jesus sorts things out. He stills the storm and he makes the wind die down. And that scares the disciples, or scares his friends, because they don't know who on earth can do this. No one that they've ever known before can make the wind and the waves behave themselves. So they have to learn to trust Jesus. And can you remember what the two questions were that Jesus asked right at the end of that story? He said to them, 1, where is your faith? And 2, do you trust in me? I wonder what that means. Well, it means that even though the things were going wrong for the friends, and the storm was coming, and there was a danger that the boat might sink, Jesus wanted them to know that with him, everything was going to be all right. But they were unsure, and they stopped trusting in him. And I think in a similar way, our lives are a bit like that. Okay, we may never get stuck in a storm in a boat, but we get stuck in the storms of life, don't we? Things like losing our friends, Maybe a friend falls out with us and we're no longer friends. Maybe we lose one of our pets at home. Maybe we have to put up with all of this coronavirus and lockdown so that we can't always go out and play with our friends. And sometimes we're lonely as a result of it. There are lots of ways in which storms come in our life. We might get sick or poorly, or someone we love might get sick or poorly, or our parents might lose their jobs and we don't have enough money to pay for the things that we like to do. All those sort of things are storms that can come to us any time in our life. But Jesus, you know what he says? He said, trust me and everything will be okay. And I think that's really reassuring to know that even when things are going wrong, we've got somebody that we can trust will never leave us and will always be there for us. So, shall we think about our memory verse one more time? Let's see if we can remember this memory verse. And I'm going to do the same as what we did last week. We're going to take away some letters. And the reason why we're doing this is so that it stays in our mind and it's something that we remember. And it reminds us when we are feeling worried that God is our strength and in him we can put our trust. So let's go. My God is my strength and in him I put my trust. Let's take some words away. My God is strength and I put my trust. And again, my God is and I put my, go again, my is and I put, very good. I'm going to take all the letters away now, all the words apart from two small ones, and see if we can do it. Okay, here we go. My I. Wonderful. Well done. And if we can remember those words, they'll be really good words for us to remember. My God is my strength, and in him I put my trust. Okay, so shall we have a prayer? Let's put our hands together and let's close our eyes. Dear God, thank you that Jesus helped his friends by calming the storm. And when we go through the storms of this life, we ask that Jesus will be with us and that we'll never feel alone and that he too will be able to help calm the storms of our lives and keep us well and happy. Amen. Amen. And maybe in our thinking time now, let's just think for a moment of perhaps what might be some of those things that we need to trust Jesus about right now. We might be going through a really difficult time at home or at school or somewhere else. And what do we want to say to Jesus in our mind and in our heart? Let's just have a moment to think about that. Okay, so, and our takeaway task for this week is quite simple. If you want to, at home, or if you have time in class, you could quite simply just draw a picture for us of Jesus in the boat with his friends. And you could do a picture of the storm and show the waves and the wind, or you could choose to draw a picture of the storm when it's calm, or you could even do both on one sheet of paper, what it was like during the storm and what it was like afterwards. So friends, let's remember that Jesus is somebody that's never going to let us down. We can always trust him, always. So until next time, you take care and have a good week. Bye for now.